TV, you might have a different experience, right? Yeah. Yes.
So it's just part personal and just part.
And yes.
Yeah.
The other thing that's interesting to measure, and if you're getting into this process known as biohacking, or quantified self, it's a movement where people are taking lots of data. There are all sorts of wearable devices like your Fitbit, and a lot of the smartwatches now are capable of tracking sleep efficiency. They can track your stages of sleep, so you can see how much stage 1, 2, 3, 4 stage sleep you get, how much REM sleep you get. And what we find is that when people are dosed with a lot of blue light, even if they don't really notice when they wake up, their sleep efficiency has been reduced versus a night when they don't sleep. Some of the most interesting experiments is when they take college kids that have been exposed to screens their whole lives, and they take them into a wilderness retreat with no screens, and ironically track their sleep efficiency with like an Oura ring. It's the least invasive, right? Is where they use the Oura ring, which is just a device. It looks like a little rubber, like a wedding band or whatever they might wear on your finger. And we see massive increases in their sleep efficiency, sleep duration, REM sleep, just from getting them away from screens. And just to show you how deep this goes, when they perform these experiments over time, the female members of these experiments, female participants in these experiments, will synchronize their menstrual cycle with the moon, which is not seen very often in modern society because we have so many interruptions to that. Whereas in the ancestral environment, the evolutionary environment, there was 3 sources of light. We had fire, we have the sun, and we have the moon, and that's it. And so if you had trained your body to those over time, that's what we see. We see that naturally women will entrain. We see this experimentally today. It's very hard to control these experiments now, but they still do them. Women will menstruate around the new moon and ovulate around the full moon. That's sort of the natural, and sometimes it's reversed. Certain women, there seems to be some natural polarity reversal, but you will see menstruation and ovulation cluster around those natural light events in the natural environment.
Is there an ideal number of hours to sleep every night, or does it depend just on your efficiency?
Great question. There's a lot of controversy around that. So there's an interesting study that shows that people who sleep more tend to have a higher risk of death. And so some researchers who weren't really careful, right? Researchers who weren't really careful tried to draw a causal link to that and say, oh, sleeping more leads to increased death from all causes, right? So the optimal seems to be that 7.5, 8.5 hours for most people. The people who sleep more tend to have a higher risk of death, but what we believe is this is the reverse of what's called the healthy user bias, which means that people who have some kind of health problem are naturally going to sleep more because they're not healthy. It's not the reverse. It's not that more sleep makes you less healthy. That's ridiculous. But what I will say is that when we look at your ability to avoid getting hit by a car, avoid crashing your car into a street light or a power pole or somebody else's car, which again, these are really big problems structurally in our country. That the people who have full motor function at 6 hours of sleep, and this is common, right? There's a lot of people that get 6 hours of sleep, including me when I'm stressed. When I'm busy, my sleep goes down to about 6 hours of sleep. But the people who have full motor function at 6 hours of sleep, rounded to a whole number, as a percentage is effectively 0, right? There's some people, some tiny percentage of people can have full motor function at 6 hours of sleep, but it's less than a full percentage point. So that effectively really is, it's effectively 0% of the population can have full motor function at 6 hours. So, and we typically sleep in 90-minute cycles, the natural sleep cycles. It's called sleep spindles, which we can see spikes in brain activity every 90 minutes. Interestingly, sleep drugs remove that, most sleep drugs. So one of the most popular sleep drugs is Ambien. And the crazy thing about Ambien is it really doesn't put you to sleep. It puts you into a state of chemical intoxication. It's like you've been knocked out with a chemical. It's not sleep. There's no sleep spindles. So Ambien has all sorts of problems and side effects because it suppresses REM sleep and it suppresses your sleep spindles. Ironically, the best sleep drug out there and again, I'm not an MD, so I can't recommend a drug, but just telling you what's out there in the medical literature, the best sleep drug that's available is a naturally occurring substance that occurs in tiny, tiny percentages in our body. It's called gamma hydroxybutyrate. It's actually related to the ketone bodies produced when you're on the ketogenic diet, beta hydroxybutyrate. GHB has been known as a date rape drug, and it can function as that. And so doctors are very, very reticent to prescribe it, but it's interesting that it's the only sleep drug out there that does not suppress sleep spindles, and it really does create a true form of sleep. Yes?
Segue into, does cannabis affect your sleep spindles?
Great question. Thank you for asking.
There's teaming up going
So cannabis is a double-edged sword, and it also depends on your sensitivity and the strain. But THC does appear to disrupt sleep spindles, although not nearly as much as pharmaceutical drugs. But it does degrade overall sleep quality to some degree, although it does help some people with sleep onset. CBD, cannabidiol, is less active on the CB1 receptors, and so it doesn't seem to have that effect. So CBD seems to be a safe, natural substance to help with both sleep onset and sleep maintenance, much more so than THC. But I definitely advise people with sleep disorders to stay away from THC or limit it to early in the day, because it can disrupt sleep spindles and decrease sleep efficiency.
What sort of milligrams do you usually recommend for
Cannabis is one of has the widest range of effective dosing of any substance on the planet. Some people can find an effective dosing at 0.5 milligram. Some might need 50 milligrams. Some might need 500 milligrams. The dosage for epileptic children that are treating epilepsy with CBD might be 1,500 milligrams or 2 grams. So we see it's really what I tell people is to start low and to just go up in dose of CBD until they find an effective dose. And I also recommend people use a full spectrum extract, because the other compounds in cannabis are very, very important. It's not just about the cannabinoids, but the terpenes, the essential oils. We were talking about essential oils earlier. Brief segue. I got to go into essential oils and terpenes here for a minute. Anybody heard the term terpenes? These are volatile compounds. They're everywhere. They're actually the internet of the natural world. They are. In Colorado here, we have these beautiful pine forests. The soil in the pine forest is filled with fungal organisms, mushrooms. Right? You can go down to the Telluride Mushroom Festival and learn all about this stuff, and learn to pick morels and puffballs and all these amazing mushrooms. The mushrooms are in constant communication with the pine tree's roots via terpenes. They're speaking to each other. They're talking about how to share water resources, how to share nutrients. It's everywhere in the natural world. Who here has a cat that goes crazy when you give it catnip? Okay, that is a terpene reaction. There's a compound in catnip called nepentolactone. It is a terpene, and it fits like a key in the lock with the cat's sexual receptivity hormone. It basically makes him like crazy horny. It's like Viagra for a cat.
I didn't know that.
It's true.
That's what we've been doing to our cats.
Nice job,
Right?
And so what we find that when we're using cannabinoids, products that have a high level of terpenes, it allows your body to stay sensitive to them. It actually modulates receptor site sensitivity. Whereas when you're using purified THC or purified CBD, the receptor site becomes less and less sensitive. It's actually very similar to the process in type 2 diabetes, where the body becomes less and less sensitive to insulin, and therefore less and less sensitive to sugar because of overstimulation. And so the terpenes really help to keep our bodies sensitive. And there's a billion other interactions there. And if you want to talk to an essential oils expert or an herbologist about that, you can really take a deep dive into essential oil chemistry. One more quick aside on that: the most powerful hallucinogenic bioactive molecule ever discovered, natural molecule, not synthesized, is a terpene. And it comes from a species of mint that grows down in the Mexican jungle, and it is a absolutely wildly powerful hallucinogen, like make you lose your face, or that way. And not recommended for sleep. All right, so with that, I think I'll wrap up. Take a few other questions.
Any thoughts of
opinions, recommendations, for someone who, I don't struggle to fall asleep, I feel like I sleep enough hours and all that stuff. Waking up is, it's impossible. It is like the hardest thing I do every day.
Okay. I would get your adrenals checked.
Okay.
And here's why. Is when we wake up first thing in the morning, our hormone levels should all peak. Not just our adrenal hormones, but our sex hormones. Testosterone, estrogen, progesterone, cortisol, epinephrine, norepinephrine. These things, when we first wake out of bed, yeah, it's stressful. You freak out when you first wake up in the morning. I gotta go to work? What? Okay. This is natural. It's been happening to humans since the beginning of time. And we naturally have a surge of hormones first thing in the morning. That's what gives us energy to get up. And if you're not having that energetic surge, it's suggestive that your adrenals are not producing the way that they need to be producing. And there's some herbal and dietary and nutritional strategies to help boost them up to give you that energy. Or it could also be your sleep efficiency is off and you're not sleeping as well as you think you are. And that's pretty easy to self-monitor with something like an Oura Ring or one of the sleep apps, typically some kind of heart rate variability monitor. The Apple Watches will do it. A lot of devices out there can help you monitor sleep efficiency. Okay. Well, thank you all for coming and listening to me ramble on about sleep. Any round of any more questions? Want another glass of wine here before dinner?
Before dinner.
Good for your liver.
That's right.
Good for your
Good for
metabolism.
liver, yes.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you all so much for participating, and there was a lot of nodding heads around the table. It's like sleep is just, it's a thing, and so I hope that something about this experience and this conversation and education spurs you to keep considering and keep looking and see how you can up-level and improve your wellness in general. Very, very briefly, the Castle Marne is in the process of upgrading all of its rooms and amenities with a lens on wellness. And something that's coming down the pipe but is a big investment is like blackout curtains, because we understand how important light and light pollution is. And so because we're not to the blackout curtains yet, we've invested in sleep masks. And so you'll have a sleep mask in your room. I know that it's not the same and that it's like something on your face, but we wanted to make sure that you knew that we had a tool at your disposal to honor that sensibility around sleep. And then another tool that we have, and Sarah, I might pass this to you, is that we have essential oil diffusers in every room. And there are 3 different oils available to you, one of which is lavender.
All things sleep.
Yeah, and so please do make sure there's, Sarah and her sister Kristen created these just beautiful little setups with the oils and the diffusers. They're very easy to use. If you get in there and you're not sure how, just ask. We want you to have the benefit. Something to do when you go to bed or something to do when you go out to dinner, so you can come home to a lavender infused room or whatever it is, and then maybe in the morning you switch it out and you do orange. So you can have that calming essential oil experience tonight and then something enlivening in the morning. And then finally, I almost forgot, I just want to acknowledge that one of our guests this evening is also the caterer who provided the beautiful wellness-oriented appetizers this evening, and that's Michelle with Heirloom Catering. Yeah, so Michelle's been amazing to work with, and I just have to say, to be able to do 3 appetizers that hit vegan, vegetarian, keto, gluten-free is like off the charts amazing, right? Like she really did that, and so she's got cards on the table. And then the family here at the Castle Marne will be doing breakfast. Yay. Have a fabulous time. Ask us if you need restaurant reservations. There's a ton of places that are walking distance. Jim Peiker is always happy to share history about the Castle Marne if you have any questions. Thank you so much for being here. Have a beautiful night, beautiful night's rest, and a beautiful breakfast. Thank you. You're free to go. Throw them on the table.
Okay, I'll grab cards.
Thank you, Sarah.
Yeah. Thank you. Is this extra? Yep, thank you.
Thank you, Sarah.
Yeah. A restaurant?
Restaurant.
Oh, restaurant.
Yeah, a couple. You got it.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Hi there, thank you. Good to see you. Thanks for being here. Yeah, I hope you enjoy your stay here. Cool.
Excited. Little middle of the week staycation.
Yeah.
That's great talk. Thank you so much.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate it. Thanks for being here.
This is our presenter this evening, and I'm going to let him introduce himself. So please go right ahead.
Hi, my name is Luke Terry, and I'm an acupuncturist and functional medicine practitioner based in Boulder, Colorado. And tonight I'm going to present on sleep and sleep hygiene and how to maximize efficient sleep and get the most out of the time you spend in bed so you can have the best possible day and the best possible life. So, thanks for watching.